which is focusing on smart cities. I'd like to welcome on stage RUPALI DESHMUKH, Country Manager, India IVL, Ulf BORBOS, International Project Manager, Swedish Incubators and Science Parks, SISP. And I believe we have 2 speakers online. Yeah, great. We have JVS RAMAKRISHNA, Global Head Sustainable Smart World L&T Technology Services, and RAJENDRA INANI, Business Unit Head, Smart Cities, Tata Projects. Thank you for being with us today. Now, the panel before, and I think it's important we have these segues, is that digitization and AI is all well and good, but there are still hardware solutions that need to be looked at and problems that need to be solved. And when it comes to smart cities and what's happening there, there's a lot of opportunity with conversations that we've heard earlier today. So I'm actually going to ask all of you to introduce yourselves in a 1-minute introduction before we move to the panel discussion. Ulf, I'd like to start with you, and then I'll move to RUPALI.
Hello, everybody. Oh, yeah.
Microphone is good.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ulf BORBOS. I work as an international project manager for an organization called Swedish Incubators and Science Parks. I've been working with the Swedish innovation system since 2008, and international collaboration and efficient collaboration is what I'm passionate about.
Great. RUPALI.
Hi, myself RUPALI DESHMUKH. I work at IVL, Swedish Environmental Research Institute. I have 2 hats. I'm country manager for India at IVL, Swedish Environmental Research Institute, and CEO at IVL India. Thank you.
Thank you very much. JVS.
Hi, my name is JVS Ramakrishna, and I've been with L&T for the last 25 years. And currently, I hold the responsibility of Global Business Head for Sustainable Smart World. We are one of the largest system integrators in the smart cities business, and I'm based off India, Hyderabad. Thank you.
Rajendra, over to you.
Hi, I'm Rajendra INANI. I'm Business Head Smart City Business with Tata Projects. I'm based out of Mumbai. We deal with smart cities in India, multiple projects.
So Rajendra, I'm actually going to follow up with that introduction with a question to you. Now, of course, smart cities as a mission in India has been running for some time. It's been broken down into different sectors, be it waste, be it power, be it transport. What have been some of the key challenges and opportunities for you when it comes to smart cities in the projects that you've been part of?
I believe this question is with me.
Yes.
Okay. So just I give you the background of the business I'm involved in. Presently in 4 cities, Nashik, Pune, Noida, and Ludhiana, we are managing the street light networks of the cities. Each city is having average 1 lakh street lights, which we have taken all on PPP model. Where we finance and we operate them for 7 to 10 years, and we achieved 55 to 75% energy saving on those model, and we are managing them. So what it start with the challenges you asked for? Most of the smart cities project are not in private sectors. They are with urban local bodies, which are the municipal corporations in the cities. And these municipal corporations are not rich. So the financial viability of a smart cities project, so they get a central grant and the project can get launched. But sustaining those projects is one of the biggest challenge. So where these are done on a PPP model, public-private partnership model, which are financed also, and this, from the savings achieved or in that kind of business model, they are very much sustainable. Traditionally, in electrical side, the infrastructure is very poor in this ULB bodies. So when we take up this project, a big challenge is to invest heavily in this business and then ensuring the returns are achieved. Technologically, once we take this project on PPP model, we have much flexibility and we can bring best of the breed technology. And there is enough scope to put all kind of IoTs to collect different sets of data, and then you can invest well in data analytics and AI to make decision making based on them. But first, you need to invest heavily and ensure that these projects are financially sustainable.
I think that's a really important point. Sorry, JVS, I'm
Yes.
just going to take it, sorry, Rajendra, to JVS, because you raise critical points about financial sustainability. There's a lot of ambition in India, of course, to push forward smart cities to create sustainable models of local leadership. But as you've said, the ULBs, the urban local bodies, become the voice of how those plans are operationalized. I'm going to ask JVS if we have him with us. And if you can hear us, I'll keep talking. JVS, L&T Smart Cities, of course, is responsible for the first smart city in India in Jaipur in 2019. And I believe you also worked to provide safety to 250 million pilgrims during the Kumbh Mela. Now, innovation and collaboration under a public infrastructure becomes an important way for India to move forward in smart cities. I'd love to hear from you what have been some of your experiences in terms of making these examples sustainable and robust, and what is the role, of course, of the ULB, as Rajendra has touched upon?
Great. First of all, thank you for having me here. See, the smart cities has been a learning for all of us, to ULBs, to us, to technology providers. When we started the first smart city, like you mentioned, the Jaipur, we were trying to figure out what the components could be. Is it about connecting the sensors, or lights, or meters, or people, or whatever it is, right? But as we kept learning on, we started doing, every city has got its own priorities in terms of somebody says safety, somebody says traffic, somebody wants utilities, and so on and so forth. But when it came to, the implementation of one of the Prayagraj smart city in India, where 250 million people come for holy dip in a river in a span of 4 months. I think it's been a big challenge for us to maintain in an open environment or a river bank using AI for public use, public good, right? So the issue is, how do we help the authorities in terms of the crowd and queue management, which was a big concern when so many people come. On one particular day, I'm told that almost 30 to 35 million people come into one place. So as many of the technologists felt, we said that, let me get into some partnerships from some global companies. We brought a global company, and then we tried to put in, boom, day one, it didn't really work. Because what a crowd seems to be for a global company, in India, the definitions are changed. It is a different metrics and different norms altogether. So we had to literally take the global technology, redo to solve the local problem in terms of, you'd find 3 or 4 people in a square meter area. Whereas normally when you say crowd in outside India, I mean, it's like, you would find 1 or 1.5 sort of people per square meter. So I think that was the biggest challenge. And second challenge was, so many people were coming in. You need to look at the people, top to bottom. But, in that crowd, you can't really figure out who is who. So the whole algorithm, the whole models will have to be retrained. But where do you get the data? I think the challenges to adopt some of these global technologies to solve the problems in India was a big learning for us. We do work with quite a lot of global companies, and also almost 20 to 25% of our project spend actually in smart cities go to smart city to the startups. We actually play this role of global technologies, local technologies, blending them together for solving the local problems. I think inevitably, more or less, all the problems statements, what we see outside could be Sweden or could be Europe or somewhere else. The problems are different, but technologies are actually pretty similar one, which we need to leverage. So the experience has been very, one of the speakers earlier was talking about pragmatic approach. We had to take a pragmatic approach in terms of solving the local problems. The technologies cannot be lifted and dropped. So that's been our experience. And subsequently, we did quite many such large events quite seamlessly, because now that we have mastered how to solve those population scale issues.
I'm just going to ask, before I move on the panel, to the audience here, Rajendra, JVS, could you give us an example or kind of a bracket approach of how many people are you talking about in your projects? You mentioned 250 pilgrims dipping in the Kumbh Mela, but when you look at your smart city projects, just so that the audience here understands the concept of scale, what numbers are we talking about? Rajendra, I'm going to ask you to tell us about the different cities you're working at and their populations. Ballpark. You're on mute.
Each of the cities where we are doing on PPP model, there's street lights. Those are each cities having almost 1 lakh street light poles and population beyond 5 million
So cities of
at a
5
minimum.
million. And are they considered cities or?
Yeah, these are cities only. Whereas I didn't talk about, we provide in one of the state, Chhattisgarh state, emergency response system. It's equivalent to 911 in US. We do dial 112, where population of the state is almost 10 crore people. You can say 100 million.
Okay.
No, 1,000 million. Yes.
Lot.
And there we run a command and control system to dispatch vehicle, and we meet the SLAs to reach in urban and rural population to this. That kind of the people, the numbers are big. In India, whatever you talk, it is much bigger number. The challenge lies where whatever technologies we bring in, we need to indigenize them completely for many. So for electrical thing, we have very good IoT devices, but when you want to deploy them in India, you need many surge suppressors. The electrical basic supply is so much unregulated, and using those devices directly won't be possible.
So the deployment has to be adapted. JVS, just to get, again, a number concept of what you're working with in terms of population, so we can understand and put a number to scale.
Some of the scale, like I talked about 250 million people taking a holy dip, but one of the smart metering project, currently what we are doing and what we are going to do is close to, I would say, we are talking about 15 million in one project. So we are going to touch 15 million households in one project. Effectively, if you were to put a number, I think with our work in 25 cities in India, I think we are touching close to 150 million urban lives today with our solutions. That's a scale.
So this is setting the scene in terms of what the challenge and the opportunities are, of course, on the ground. And we need translators. You mentioned, I think that's a really important word you use, localizing, indigenizing technology and solutions. Now, we have the AI and the high-end tech solutions that we're hearing about today. We also have some very everyday problems that are still untackled, and that's waste and wastewater treatment. Rupali, I want to come to you, and of course, you've been working with smart cities for many years now. And now, of course, as CEO and country manager of India, you have on-the-ground solutions that understand and are localizing some of the solutions we're taking from Sweden to India. Tell us about what's happening in waste and wastewater management, and what is IVL doing?
Wonderful. Thank you, Aarti. Thank you for the question. And thanks, Sanju, India Unlimited, and Indian Embassy for arranging such a wonderful event. Coming back to your question, Aarti, we have to understand smart cities. You know, it's a totally different dynamics. Smart cities should focus on two important aspects. That is eco-governance, which I don't know how much Indians are familiar about it, but our success here in Sweden is because of eco-governance. And then the second aspect is circular economy. So what is eco-governance? Eco-governance means all the verticals, all the sectors working together, complementing each other within smart cities. And then our focus for the action within those circular areas, it should be on circularity. Then coming back to your question, because I work mostly with waste management and wastewater are my areas within smart city. So everything is very, very different when we talk about smart cities and how smart city is complementing these areas. I would say different and or several ways. As smart city view those area or other areas within smart city as its sustainable goal. And how they are complementing, you know, these are the areas they view, like smart city view those areas as a sustainability goal and aim in reducing waste generation, maximizing recycling, and the third very, very important R of circular economy, which we always talk about reuse, reduce, recycle. But the most important pillar of circular economy is recovery. And smart city focused on that, recovery of resources. It is very important, and that's why smart cities success is to the different level and several ways. If we are adding like sensor or data analytics to monitor the waste system or wastewater system in real time, can predict the different defects and gives us warning, early warning, which reduces the downtime or risk of environmental impact or hazards, or even on the health, human health. So you get a really good time with adding those data analytics or sensors to your waste or wastewater systems. Second, I would like to highlight here, you can even, smart city can contribute in reducing your carbon footprint. Again, another example, having smart bins with a good communication device can give an indication to waste collecting truck when they are full. So you don't have to go for repeated inspection whether the bin is full or not. So you can reduce on fuel consumption, thereby reducing the carbon footprint. Third important, means there are several, but third important, I would say, smart cities and smart city focuses on different apps and a platform which engages the stakeholder or the citizens. These platforms give education to the stakeholders or a public, and also they have this system like rewarding for good disposable or responsible disposable of waste. So these are the areas I feel important, and scale up is also important, and we need a proper regulatory system to scale up those.
So there's a lot there, but I want to pick out something and come back to what Rajendra was saying. You're talking about smart cities, and the examples you're giving, these are ULB public decision-making action points. And a lot of what needs to happen then to lock in budgetary decisions is to educate, is to share information, is to talk about what can be done, what is the problem, how can we work together to solve this. Now, CISP is working together with IVL, of course, to create this sharing, to create this conversation with public and private players to say, there are ways in which we can work together, the pragmatic approach, low-hanging fruit, to resolve some of the problems you're facing today. Ulf, if you can tell us about how that's been in terms of the smart cities engagement you've had.
I will start with taking an approach from how our Swedish innovation system, when it comes to Swedish Incubator and Science Park, which is part of the Swedish innovation system. So I will try to address this sustainable city from that approach. First of all, I think sustainable city solutions is a very big task, because in the Swedish innovation system we are early adopters. We are good to start up, create startup and scale up companies. But when it comes to finding, and there we come a lot of good technical solutions. But when it comes to putting a total solution together, we need to be better at cooperating with big companies or organizations to help us to create solutions. Because usually technology, when you come to big countries, they say technology is not the solution, it's not the problem, it's the solution that we want to have. So I would like to address that kind of challenge that we have from the Swedish innovation system. We have some activities that I think can help us to do a better job from the Swedish perspective. We have a program called Ignite Sweden, where we do an innovation matchmaking between startup and scale-ups towards corporates, Indian corporates. That is one of the parts we are trying to develop. But we also trying to use already existing organizations doing a good job in India. And that I would say IVL and Sweden-India Business Council is good actors, and Business Sweden, so we can interact with them in a better way. But this is some like a lesson for us ourselves to be better at. And also we are doing what we call delegation trips that are educational, because there is a huge need of learning more about Indian culture and get this inspiration that we heard from other speakers earlier today, because this is what the journey I've done. I just started working with India 2 years ago, and I didn't realize what kind of potential there was. But now I know there is a huge potential, and I think what has also been said that we can use much better is using the people, the culture that is both different between our countries, but also we can create value together. So when it comes to sustainable city solutions, I think our biggest challenge and how we try to work now is to find this packaging of our great innovation ability in Sweden with corporates that have bigger muscles. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Ulf. And I actually want, now, none of you are strangers to each other, of course, because you talk about sharing and these delegations and this conversation. And of course we see, and I don't think you have to be sitting here or in Delhi or in Bangalore to understand the value of seeing is believing, to start the conversation, to make the investment decisions, to actually deploy solutions. IVL took a delegation recently to India to start these conversations. All of you were part of that delegation. I actually want to start with Rajendra, JVS, Ulf, and then end with Rupali as to what the delegation brought up in terms of conversations, what you saw that was interesting, what you would like to follow up on, what perhaps is being followed up. Because this delegation was a kickstart in terms of conversations and solutions that we can work together on the India-Sweden corridor. So Rajendra, I'm going to start with you on the delegation that IVL brought to India recently.
So what I look forward to that there is a lot of technologies are available, but there is challenges in deploying them in India. So what can be taken forward is a proof of concept kind of thing, where we take a small city or some part of city, where we invest into creating a proof of concept and realize them in Indian conditions, whether it is equipment, usage behavior, or what are all other local challenges that can come. It can help us realize at what value this will be feasible in India. The very first thing is bringing the equipment from overseas may not be financially viable. They need to be produced in India, make in India. That's where it can make them. And the economies of scale can play a big role. So, but once we establish those POCs, I am carrying out in Nashik city with 1,000 street lights. Those are Swiss-made light, but we want to, along with them, deploy a number of IoT devices, traffic management and whatnot. But once we realize, we will be more confident what value this can be delivered in India and what value proposition we can come up with. And then we can go and propose to those ULBs bodies what business model or financial model we can follow for a sustainable deployment of these services. Great. So that kind of approach can help a lot.
JVS.
Yeah, we did a very good discussion when the delegation was in India. I mean, quite a lot of people. One big takeaway, I mean, in fact, two takeaways for us was, I think the Swedish delegation has come with very strong sustainability, as a theme in terms of the solutions, which is a very, very important subject even in the countries like India, especially given the volume what we are talking about. And we also briefly discussed at that point of time, if we can incubate some of those things in our innovation centers in Chennai and see how we can localize those technologies and solutions for the local requirements. I think there's two more pragmatic actionables that we discussed upon. There were a couple of follow-ups, if I were to say, Arati, in terms of what to do and all. I think we will take this forward.
Great. Ulf, I'm going to come to you next.
Okay. What I see in the future here in our collaboration is that we need to enhance the ability of this incubation process in between us, because we sit on something like 7,000 Swedish innovative companies, and we are really looking forward to having an exchange process where we can find a way to evaluate and see what is the best technology to match into your needs, and then develop that as a strategic joint program. So, and we are bringing our innovation environments to India because we think this is something that also in the mind of our Swedish incubator has to be developed and educated, because they don't know the possibilities right now. We still need to force it out to them and realize that this is huge potential.
So Rupali, I'm going to give you the last word because a lot has been said here. A lot of focus on matchmaking, proof of concept, financial viability, localization, incubation, and of course conversations between stakeholders in Sweden, of which there are thousands, and the solutions they can actually work with in India. IVL, of course, is the spider in the web here in terms of bringing different stakeholders together. You've been doing that for the last number of years. We've traveled many times to India on smart city solutions. What would you like to see going forward, taking all these discussions and deploying them in the next 5 years?
I totally agree with what Rajendra said, that we have to check the feasibility of what we are offering. And I understand their concern when it comes to the costing and the business opportunity. So what I believe together, I think everybody in the room will agree to me, what we are offering will not suit in India. So we have to develop the solution for local condition, for after understanding the entire dynamics, what the trends are, what are the problems are, and what solution which is feasible economically to Indian condition. And for that, such a type of delegation visit from India to Sweden or Sweden to India encourages a knowledge transfer. Knowledge transfer along with a business opportunity, those open many doors. Second, third thing, I would say the research and innovation is going to other level than before now after this exchange of knowledge. And when RTV took this delegation, it was a road show, 3 cities, the same question came forward, that how we can build the stronger partnership for India, Sweden in innovation side, for business side. So I would like to mention here, Vinova is in a room, and Vinova has given IVL a project to find out the feasibility of Center of Excellence, Sweden-India Center of Excellence, where we will see if it is feasible, our innovator, our researcher come together, and together with Indian side, it is not only for researcher, businessmen, industrialists, everybody come together, discuss the problem, bring the solution together. So I hope I have submitted the project plan, I get approval, then we start working on that. And then of course I will need all your support, L&T I need, Tata project. Of course I need SIB, CRT, you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. What you've heard, Smart Cities has been a story that India and Sweden have been working on together for some time. And we have actors on both sides of the corridor really looking forward to taking the discussion further. With people like Rupali, this conversation will not end here. Stay tuned, and we welcome you back next year to hear the outcomes of the Center of Excellence. Let's give them a warm hand of applause.